All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to West Brom Fan TV. Today we've got a special guest from WD18 Watford Fan Channel, Sam. Um, Thanks for coming on, Sam. I haven't really, to be honest, you're my first StreamYard guest because I haven't really done many of these. So, welcome to the channel. Any thoughts?
No, thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's good to have football back over the weekend. The EFL, best set of leagues in the world: Championship, League One, League Two. And I'm not just saying that because Watford got relegated, but yeah, really excited for the season ahead. And yeah, I'm sure both of our teams will be up there come the end of the season.
Yeah, well, I was going to say basically you got a 1-0 win yesterday, actually. I didn't watch the game because I was at work. But you know what? You actually played a decent team in Sheffield United, the same as West Brom. The other day, I was quite happy that we went to Middlesbrough and picked up a point. First half, we were absolutely awful. I'm not going to lie, we were terrible. And then the second half, it just came alive. And to be honest, the draw was probably a fair result, but I think we had a couple of better chances, which meant we could have won the game. But the last time we played was actually in 2018 in the Premier League, where you got a 1-0 win. Can you remember that game at all? Or
Yeah, I think Troy Deeney scored for us. I think he chipped Ben Foster when he
yeah,
went for the wrong goal. Yeah, that we've had some really interesting encounters with West Brom over the years.
we've won. I
Obviously,
think we've won one of our last five against you guys. So it's like, you
yeah,
know, we haven't got the best records lately against you, which is
yeah,
obviously not good.
yeah. There's two games for me that really stick out. Both of them are actually at the Hawthorns. First one was in 2016, it must have been, and we beat you 1-0 through a Ben Watson goal, and Aurelio Gomez saved two penalties for us that day. Sadio Barahino,
Yeah,
missed two penalties in that game, and Gomez saved both. So that was a great day out. And the other one was you were 2-0 up against us before we equalised. Richarlison scored a header in the 96th minute or something to equalise for us. That was ridiculous. Wow.
yeah. Well, remember that game. So basically, I was in the stands in the Smethwick end, right next to the away fans, and I remember Berahino, he missed one penalty. I think Gomez made the save, like you said. And then all of us, I think all the fans were screaming for him not to take the next penalty purely because he'd just missed. And I think he pretty much went the same way, what he
Yeah.
did before. And Gomez made a good save. Obviously, Gomez, he was a good keeper, to be honest. I think he had a decent record against like saving penalties and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, amazing at that. Watford legend Gomez. We all absolutely love the guy.
Yeah, the question is though, who do you prefer, Ben Foster or Gomez? Because obviously Ben Foster, when he signed for us, he was a massive fan favourite, and then he left. He went to you guys, and to be honest, this thing about him doing his vlogging and stuff like that
Yeah.
with his GoPro. I saw a lot of negativity when he got like released and stuff like that. What did you make of Foster, and what did you make of all that GoPro stuff? Was you for it? Was you against it? Or
So I was very anti GoPro. I was very against it. Very
yeah,
against the vlogging, particularly when we just lost, for example, 5-0 to Liverpool, and he's going over to try and get Salah in his vlog, and it just wasn't a good look, to be honest with you. I think it's a really weird one with Ben because first of all, he's a top guy. He's a really nice guy, one of the nicest I've met in football, and just generally, I think he comes across as a really, really good guy. But at the same time, the professionalism at times has to be questioned, particularly when his performances weren't great either. So
yeah.
I was really anti the GoPro, anti the YouTube channel. The right decision for him to move on and not renew his contract, and I think he's still looking for a club. He might go to you. I've heard as well. He was there's Leeds. It's looking like now, but he was training with West Brom for a bit or something.
Yeah, he was training with basically Boaz Hill, who he used to know at West Brom. He was training with him with the younger players and stuff like that. But to be honest, I really liked Ben Foster. I thought he's one of the best keepers we've had in recent years. And it looks like he's actually going more towards the YouTube path rather than the professional footballer path. And
Yeah, I've got a feeling he's going to retire actually.
Yeah, and I think he'll make YouTube like a massive full-time thing. So obviously, I've done a little bit of research into Watford. I didn't really have to, because I know that obviously your standout players for me, looking in as an outsider. Sorry, um, Sarr, Ismaila Sarr. Obviously, that guy, he's rapid, he's unbelievable. You've got the likes of Pedro as
Yeah.
well, and then you've got Dennis. Those are the three players who I picked out. What I think could cause us a massive threat. Um, have you just signed Danny Rose as well? Did you just
No,
sign?
Danny Rose was last season.
Yeah, there's a fullback who you've signed, isn't it?
Oh, Hassan Kamara. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah,
Probably he joined in January last season and won our Player of the Season award, having only played about 15 games.
yeah.
So brilliant
So
player.
as a Watford fan, obviously you know a lot more about your club. Who would you say the key players who we should look out for on Monday night?
I think it's those four that you said. I think there's the chance in terms of the front three that we saw last night with Sarr on the right, Dennis on the left, João Pedro down the middle. It's very unlikely that all three will still be there come the end of the window. Pedro will probably be staying, and then probably one of Sarr or Dennis will go. More likely it will be Dennis. So don't be shocked if one of them don't line up against West Brom. But I think those three are all incredibly dangerous. And I think if they play, Sheffield United can handle them last night. So I think there'll be a match for West Brom as well. I think you said the name as well there, Sam Kamara, absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant. Again, last night, he played at right wing back, even though he's a left back, but really, really good. Mario Gaspar, the experienced ex-Villarreal captain, will probably make his debut, as will Ethan Laird on loan from Man United if that deal goes through in time. So, no, it's a really interesting one because as good as Watford were last night, I think it's going to be difficult to sort of predict the lineup and predict who's going to be playing and who's going to stand out. So, be a really interesting one, I think.
yeah. It's like obviously I've picked out a couple of players who I think Watford should look out for. Maybe you would think the same, but I don't know if you obviously know much about West Brom. So the players who I've picked out is John Swift. Obviously brilliant
Yeah,
for Reading, scored a lot of goals, got a lot of assists, and got a goal in the last game. Jed Wallace again
yeah,
got an assist in the last game. Those two link up play, like I'm really excited to see it this season. Daryl DK as well. We signed him last season, but unfortunately he got injured very early on. But to be honest, when he came on against who was it? Middlesbrough. He nearly went out my head then. He was absolutely brilliant. Grady Diangana as well, when he came on, he was good. Is there any players who you're worried about in terms of West Brom who you think could cause you a lot of stress on the night?
yeah. So there are two players that I've got in my head because I think for Watford, I think our main weakness is the midfield at the moment with Imran Loser injured. We've got Tom Cleverley and last night's Edu Kiembe in there, and I don't think they didn't have the worst games, but I don't think they covered themselves in glory too much. So John Swift, the player that I've been following for a couple of years now, someone I was really interested in Watford bringing in, he would have been
Yeah.
perfect for us. I think I'm worried about him. And will Okay Kuzlu play? Do you think?
I'm not 100% sure. I've heard that his first appearance will be against Sheffield United in the cup because he hasn't had a pre-season. He hasn't played for a while, so they're just like easing him into it, I think.
Yeah, so we were linked with Yukushlu in January, I think it was, or last summer. Obviously, we didn't get that over the line. But I think if he does play, which you say, it's unlikely that he will. He's someone that I probably would have been worried about. But as you say, there you got Daryl Dike up front who can be a bit of a handful. Your centre
Very
half,
strong. Yeah.
yeah, your centre half Ajayi as well. I quite liked him in the Premier League. I know he is sort of prone to some errors as well, but from what I heard, I had your game on in the background. He had a good game the other day against Middlesbrough, so he's someone that perhaps I would actually say if Sarr, Dennis, and Pedro are to stick around, he's probably going to be one of the more difficult defenders that they play against this season. So yeah, he's one as well that I'm looking out for.
Yeah, O'Shea as well. I thought he had an absolutely brilliant game against Middlesbrough the other night. Um, it was nice to see that the players actually reacted for us as well because, like I said, we were so poor. I just hope we can keep it up till the end of the season, like in the second half. But what are your predictions for Watford and West Brom? Do you think we'll both be up there? Do you think you'll be promoted, we'll be promoted, or what do you
Yeah,
think?
again, with Watford, it's a really difficult one because with this, there's sort of two answers to that question. There's one is if Sarr, Dennis, and Pedro all stay, then we should get top two. I don't know about winning the league, but we should get top two. Whereas if they go, I think we'll be in a playoff scrap realistically. I think they weaken the team so much that I could see us even struggling to get into the playoffs if we don't replace them adequately. So I think my Watford hat on, I think will challenge this season in the top end, top 3 or 4 maybe. In terms of West Brom, again, it's quite a difficult one because I know Steve Bruce has had a difficult time over the last 2-3 years or so. But I think it'll probably do him good. He's had a full pre-season at West Brom now, unlike last season. And he seems to bring in the players that he wants, really good signing as well. So I think West Brom will get playoffs, and to be honest, it's difficult to call who goes up in the playoffs from there because it's anyone's game, isn't it?
The lottery, yeah. So I'm going to put you on the spot here a bit. If you could pick 3 West Brom players to go into the Watford team, you could transfer them over right this second. Who would you pick and why?
Wow, difficult question. I'd say, assuming one of our front 3 goes, I'd take DK because he was someone that I was when he had a really good season at Barnsley about 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah,
and he was someone that I was really interested in. He's got that physical presence that we mentioned before, and someone that I think we could really benefit with in the Championship. I think John Swift would fit perfectly into our team when Imran Luz is fully fit as well, and the man we mentioned as well, Sheni Ajayi. I think we're calling out for centre half still, someone who's good at blocking the ball, someone who's comfortable with the ball, someone who's relatively big as well. So I think he'd be a good one as well.
Yeah, are you surprised that you managed to keep hold of Sarr? Obviously, because there was a lot of Premier League interest, weren't there?
Yeah,
arguably, like, no disrespect to Watford, like bigger clubs, and obviously a lot of players would have been tempted by that. But Sarr, he seemed at the moment he's staying. I don't know what his situation is, but it's good that it's actually really good that Watford have managed to keep him because I remember watching him when he was in the Premier League, and he was just outstanding. Some weeks he was just unstoppable.
Yeah, so it's a difficult one to answer that because I think what's happened is we've priced a lot of teams out of a move, while a lot of clubs would have wanted to bring him in and were quite interested. I think some fans at the same time, not some fans, some clubs didn't want to pay the 35 million or 40 million that we ultimately wanted for him, where we wanted to sort of get the money back that we bought him for. So I can understand why he's not gone. I think the later the window gets, the lower our evaluation will become for him. But I could equally see him staying until January, give him the World Cup to increase his value, and then we cash in then.
Yeah. So I've got one more question regarding the football, and then we'll get on to like your YouTube channel and stuff. Tell us a bit about that. By the way, guys, his link is in the description. So if you want to go over, subscribe, feel free to do so. So what's your score prediction for the game? I'll give you mine first, and then we'll get into yours. So I think it's going to be West Brom 2, Watford 1. Now, the reason, to be honest, this is probably one of the harder games what West Brom are going to face because, Watford, I do believe you'll be up there at the end of the season. Something tells me, I just got this feeling, and I've been thinking it since the Middlesbrough game. I think 2-1 West Brom. I'm going to say Daryl DK with a goal. And I'm also going to say John Swift. And I think Ismail Assar will get a goal for you guys. I think it'll be a very tight game. But you know what? It could go either way. It's one of those games where both teams have got a good attack. And, if you guys take your chances, which you're more than capable of doing, then the game could be out of sight if we play like we did in the first half against Middlesbrough. So what's your score prediction?
I'm going to say 1-1, I think.
Yeah.
I think that as you said, I think it's going to be a really tight game. One that, you say it could be 2-1 to you. I think it could equally be 2-1 to us. So I'm sort of going 1-1 somewhere in the middle there. But I think that it's going to be relatively scrappy at points, particularly in the midfield area. I think that while Rob Edwards and the system that he wants to play is, last night, the early signs were there that it's going to work, but it's not fully there yet, the finished product. We should have at least, we'll have Gaspar fully fit by next week, hopefully, and another player through the door, maybe Ethan Laird, that will be. So we'll have another player through the door. Hopefully the front three can stay, and I think that, we've got a good chance of winning the game. But as I say, I think West Brom will make it difficult, so I'm going to go with the 1-1 draw.
Are you going, or?
I am going, yeah.
Yeah. How many are you bringing?
We've got 100 seats left in the away end. I'm not too sure what the allocation is, but we originally sold out, and I think we got given an extra few seats, but we haven't sold those yet.
Yeah, that's a good effort, to be fair, for a Monday night anyway. So I just want to say a big thank you for coming on.
Thank you, mate.
I hope you don't mind me saying this, but that thing you pinned tweet on Twitter, I think it's very inspirational.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.
So, fair play for what you're doing.
Cheers, mate.
From what happened, obviously I'm not going to discuss it in detail because I just want to make you aware that you should be proud of yourself.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that.
To go from that to being on Sky Sports, like you said, representing your team is a massive achievement. So I just want to say well done on that.
Thank you,
keep
mate.
doing what you're doing. And
thank you.
Where can we find your channel if we want to watch more of you, if people aren't already subscribed?
So just search up WD18 Fans on YouTube. We're on Twitter and Instagram as well. Pretty much the home of all Watford content, transfer rumours, match reactions, match previews, and we're having you on as well on Sunday at 1 o'clock, just previewing the West Brom game. So really looking forward to that. We'll be live at 8 o'clock tonight on our YouTube, doing a match review from last night's game. So really looking forward to it. Thank you again for having me on, and hopefully see you soon.
Yeah. So guys, that's the end of the video. That was the first ever StreamYard I've actually done, believe it or not. So I just want to thank you all for tuning in. Like I say, Sam's link is in the description. Comment your score predictions on the video, and cheers for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.